It would be easy to dismiss the question by saying, yes, after a prolonged period of intense austerities and meditation, while I was living at Swaragashram and when I had the darshan and blessings of a number of Maharishis, the Lord appeared before me in the form of Sri Krishna. But that would not be the whole truth, nor a sufficient answer to a question relating to God, who is infinite, unlimited and beyond the reach of speech and mind. Cosmic consciousness is not an accident or chance. It is the summit, accessible by a thorny path that has steps, slippery steps. I ascended them step by step the hard way, but at every stage one experienced God coming into my life and lifting me easily to the next stage. My father was fond of ceremonial worship in which he was very regular. To my child mind the image he worshipped was God, and I delighted in helping father in the worship by bringing him flowers and other articles of worship. The deep inner satisfaction that he and I derived from such worship implanted in my heart a strong conviction that God was in such images devoutly worshipped by his devotees. Thus did God first come into my life and place my foot on the first rung of the spiritual ladder. As an adult I was fond of gymnastics and vigorous exercises. I learned fencing from a teacher who belonged to a low caste. He was a Harijan. I could go to him only for a few days before I was made to understand that it was unbecoming of a caste Brahmin to play the student to an untouchable. I thought deeply over the matter. One moment I felt that the God whom we worshipped in the image in my father's worship room had jumped over to the heart of this untouchable. He was my guru all right. So I immediately went to him with flowers, sweets and clothes and garlanded him, placed flowers at his feet and prostrated myself before him. Thus did God come into my life to remove the veil of caste distinctions. How very valuable this step was I could realize soon after this, for I was to enter the medical profession and serve all, and the persistence of caste distinctions would have made that service a mockery. With this mist cleared by the light of God, it was easy and natural for me to serve everyone. I took keen delight in every kind of service connected with the healing and alleviation of human misery. If there was a good prescription for malaria, I felt that the whole world should know it the next moment. Any knowledge about the prevention of diseases, promotion of health and healing of diseases I was eager to acquire and share with all. Then in Malaya, God came to me in the form of the sick. It is difficult for me now to single out any instance, and perhaps it is unnecessary. Time and space are concepts of the mind and have no meaning in God. I can look back now upon the whole period of my stay in Malaya as a single event in which God came to me in the form of the sick and suffering. People are sick physically and mentally. To some, life is lingering death, and to others, death is more welcome than life. Some invite death and commit suicide, unable to face life. The aspiration grew within me that if God had not made this world merely as a hell where wicked people would be thrown to suffer, and if there is, as I intuitively felt there should be, something other than this misery and this helpless existence, it should be known well and experienced. It was at this crucial point in my life that God came to me as a religious mendicant who gave me the first lesson in Vedanta. The positive aspects of life here and the real end and aim of human life were made apparent. This drew me from Malaya to the Himalaya. God now came to me in the form of an all-consuming aspiration to realize Him as the self of all. Meditation and service went apace, and then came various spiritual experiences. The body, mind and intellect as the limiting adjuncts, vanished, and the whole universe shone as His light. God then came in the form of this light in which everything assumed a divine shape and the pain and suffering that seemed to haunt everybody appeared to be a mirage, the illusion that ignorance creates on account of low sensual appetites that lurk in man. One more milestone had to be passed in order to know that everything is Brahman. Early in 1950, on the 8th of January, the Lord came to me in the form of a half-demented assailant, who disturbed the night satsang at the ashram. His attempt failed. I bowed to him, worshipped him and sent him home. Evil exists in order to glorify the good. Evil is a superficial appearance. Beneath its veil the one self shines in all. A noteworthy fact ought to be mentioned here. In this evolution nothing gained previously was entirely discarded at any later stage. One coalesced into the next, and the yoga of synthesis was the fruit. Idol worship, service of the sick, practice of meditation, the cultivation of cosmic love that transcended the barriers of caste, creed and religion, with the ultimate aim of attaining the state of cosmic consciousness, was revealed. This knowledge had to be shared immediately. All this had to become an integral part of my being. The mission had been gathering strength and spreading. It was in 1951 that I undertook the All India tour. Then God came to me in his Virat Swarupa, as multitudes of devotees, eager to listen to the tenets of divine life. At every center I felt that God spoke through me, and he himself in his cosmic form spread out before me as the multitude listened to me. He sang with me, he prayed with me, he spoke and he also listened. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. All indeed is Brahman. What life has taught me. It was, I should say, by a flash that I came to the conclusion early in my life that human life is not complete with its observable activities and that there is something above human perception controlling and directing all that is visible. I may boldly say that I began to perceive the realities behind what we call life on earth. The unrest and feverish anxiety that characterize man's ordinary existence here bespeak a higher goal that he has to reach one day or the other. When man gets entangled in selfishness, greed, hatred and lust, he naturally forgets what is beneath his own skin. Materialism and skepticism reign supreme. He gets irritated over little things and begins to fight and quarrel. In short, man becomes miserable. The doctor's profession gave me ample evidence of the great sufferings of this world. I was blessed with a new vision and perspective. I was deeply convinced that there must be a place, a sweet home of pristine glory, purity and divine splendor, where absolute security, perfect peace and happiness can be enjoyed eternally. Therefore, in conformity with the dictum of the Sruti, I renounced the world, and felt that I now belonged to the whole world. A course of severe self-discipline and penance endowed me with enough strength to move unscathed amidst the vicissitudes of the world phenomena. And I began to feel the great good it would do to humanity if I could share this new vision with one and all. I called my instrument of work, the Divine Life Society. Side by side, the stirring events since the advent of the 20th century had their effects upon all keen-minded people. The horrors of the past and possible wars, and the consequent suffering, touched the minds of people. It was not difficult to see that the pains of mankind were mostly brought on by its own deeds. To awaken man to his errors and follies, and to make him mend his ways so that he may utilize his life for attaining worthier ends, was felt to be the urgent need of the time. As if in answer to this need, I saw the birth of the Divine Life Mission, with its task of rescuing man from the forces of the lower nature and raising him to the consciousness of his true relationship with the cosmos. This is the work of rousing the religious consciousness, of bringing man to an awareness of his essential divinity. Not by mere argument or discussion can religion be taught or understood. Not by precepts or canons of teaching alone can you make one religious. It requires a peculiar atonement with one's vast environment, an ability to feel the deepest as well as the vastest. It requires a genuine sympathy with creation. Religion is living, not speaking or showing. I hold that whatever be one's religion, whoever be the prophet one adores, whatever be one's language or country, age or sex, one can be religious provided the true implication of that hallowed term, tapas, which essentially means any form of self-control, is made capable of being practiced in daily life to the extent possible for one, in the environment and under the circumstances in which one is placed. I hold that real religion is the religion of the heart. The heart must be purified first. Truth, love and purity are the basis of real religion. Control over the baser nature, conquest of the mind. Cultivation of virtues, service of humanity, goodwill, fellowship and amity, constitute the fundamentals of true religion. These ideals are included in the principles of the Divine Life Society. And I try to teach them mostly by example, which I consider to be weightier than all precepts. The modern thinker has neither the requisite time nor the patience to perform rigorous tapas and austere religious practices, and many of these are even being relegated to the level of superstition. In order to give the present generation the benefit of real tapas in the true religious sense, to reveal to them its real significance, and to convince them of its meaning and efficacy, I hold up my torch of divine life, which is a system of religious life suited to one and all, which can be practiced by the recluse and the office-goer alike, which is intelligible to the scholar and the rustic, in its different stages and phases. This is a religion which is not other than what is essential to give true meaning to the daily duties of the human being. The beauty of divine life is its simplicity and applicability to the everyday affairs of the ordinary man. It is immaterial whether one goes to the church or the mosque or the temple for offering one's prayers, for all sincere prayers are heard by the divine. The average seeker after truth is very often deceived by the caprices of his mind. A person who takes to the spiritual path is bewildered before he reaches the end of his journey. He is naturally tempted to relax his efforts halfway. Many are the pitfalls, but those who plod on steadily are sure to reach the goal of life, which is universality of being, knowledge and joy. I have laid great emphasis in all my writings upon the discipline of the turbulent senses, conquest of the mind, purification of the heart, and attainment of inner peace and strength, suited to the different stages in evolution. I have understood that it is the foremost duty of man to learn to give in charity, to give in plenty, to give with love and without expectation of any reward, because one does not lose anything by giving. On the other hand, the giver is given back 1,000-fold. Charity is not merely an act of offering certain material goods, for charity is incomplete without charity of disposition, of feeling, and of understanding and knowledge. Charity is self-sacrifice in the different levels of one's being. Charity in the highest sense I understand to be equivalent to jnana yajna, the sacrifice of wisdom. Similarly, I consider that goodness of being and doing constitute the rock bottom of one's life. By goodness I mean the capacity to feel with others and to live and feel as others do, and be in a position to act so that no one is hurt by the act. Goodness is the face of godliness. I think that to be good in reality, in the innermost recesses of one's heart, is not easy, though it may appear to be simple as a teaching. It is one of the hardest things on earth, if only one would be honest with oneself. There is no physical world for me. What I see as the glorious manifestation of the Almighty. I rejoice when I behold the Purusha with thousands of heads and thousands of eyes and feet, that Sahasrarasirsha Purusha. When I serve persons, I see not the persons, but him of whom they are the limbs. I learn to be humble before the mighty being whose breath we breathe and whose joy we enjoy. I do not think there is anything more to teach or to learn. Here is the cream of religion, the quintessence of philosophy that anyone really needs.